Would you please pray with me? May the words of my mouth and the meditation of each heart be acceptable in your sight, Lord, you who are our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Our lives have many surprises and many turning points. Some surprises and some turning points are big and some are little. But all of them have the potential to change our life. Just think of it. What would my life look like if I hadn't chosen to go to Texas A&M University? I wouldn't be as sad today. But we are playing for national championship this afternoon, so all is well. Who would I be married to? What would I be doing? What if I had decided not to go to seminary and become a pastor and went and became a full-time teacher instead? Where would I be? What would my life be like? Who would be standing right here, right now, in this church? These are some of the big decisions that we make that truly change the trajectory of our life. But what about the small things, too? What if instead of getting up and checking on the crash I heard in the kitchen last night, I decided to check it in the morning? And I rolled over and I went to sleep and forgot all about it until the morning when I walked in barefoot to find the glass that my cat knocked off the counter and ended up having to get stitches in my foot. Okay, wait, that didn't really happen. The crash happened. The cat happened and the crash happened, but I didn't step on it. Okay, maybe this is a little catastrophic of an example. Every service, it was so fun, every service. Okay, but true story, what about the time that my husband said to me, why don't you turn on the porch light before I opened the door to the patio at night? Only to find that the noise we'd been listening to or hearing was a rattlesnake 2 feet from the door. True story. What if I hadn't turned on the light? Or what about when I was patient with the grumpy person at the checkout line and they were grateful because it had been a really bad day? Or what about that smile or that kind word that were just flippant to me but changed someone else's day dramatically? Each of these decisions are turning points, and what lies ahead is often a surprise. We're pretty good at knowing what consequences most daily decisions are going to come about or are going to bring. But if we're honest, every decision, really, even these little ones, can end in something out of the blue, a surprise. Now, today in our gospel, the turning point is just the type of situation that Joseph finds himself in. He's faced with choices. He could have Mary publicly shamed or even stoned to death for being with child, but Joseph is kind and decides to dismiss her quietly. Then an angel visits him in a dream and tells him not to leave Mary, but to stand by her, for she's going to bear the Christ child, Emmanuel, that was promised by the Lord through the prophet of Isaiah, who we just heard. In this situation or turning point, there are so many surprises out of the blue. First, what a surprise to be visited by an angel. I'm pretty sure that would wake me up. But then to find out that your betrothed, who you were planning to dismiss, is pregnant with God's son. That's not just a surprise, that's a shocker. And it's a little bit surprising that Joseph decides to stick around. He could have easily dismissed the whole thing as some weird dream or a nightmare or a hoax. He could have walked away. He could have decided it was too much, that he didn't want to have anything to do with it, but he didn't. And he took Mary as his wife, and we hear the rest of the story on Wednesday evening, 4, 6, 8, and 10. The surprises keep rolling in from out of the blue. And tonight is a turning point too. December 21st is the longest night of the year, the longest time we experience darkness in a 24-hour period before the nights become shorter and shorter again until June 21st, the shortest night of the year. Tonight, we face darkness the longest, but then we make the turn towards more light each day. And it's not lost on me that at least in the northern hemisphere, we celebrate light coming into the world in the darkest season of the year. It's basic human instinct to fear the dark, or at least be a little bit uncomfortable. 30 to 50% of adults have some fear or discomfort about the dark, and it's even more common and normal as a child to fear the dark. In fact, we're physically wired to be more alert and worried in the dark because it's a lot easier for predators to find us then. Also, we often describe our emotions using the words light or dark. In other words, we experience darkness physically, but we also experience darkness mentally and emotionally. Tonight, the longest night of the year when darkness takes up more of the day than any other, tonight is often a time when people feel their darkest as well. It's why we hold a worship service on or close to December 21st every year. This year, it's tomorrow evening. While this is a joyful holiday season, it's also for some a dark season when grief and pain are felt the most. And yet, December 21st is a turning point. While it's the darkest night, it also reminds us that life is cyclical, that the light will shine again, that tomorrow the night will be just a little shorter. It's this time that we celebrate Jesus coming into the world, and we're reminded of other words from Isaiah that tell us those who have walked in great darkness have seen a great light. This is our greatest surprise, our greatest hope, because there are turning points all around us, and we're only human. So some of those turning points will end up well, but some will end up turning badly. Some of those turning points will bring great joy, and some will bring pain to ourselves and others. We'll be continually faced with choices throughout our lives on earth, and those choices will always have consequences that we can't truly foresee. We live in the dark until we experience the light. It's a cycle from dark to light, night into day, night into day. What a gift, what a surprise to wake each morning to find ourselves coming back into the light out of the darkness. This cycle, these turning points, are a gift to us because God spoke through the prophet Isaiah and promised to come among God's people as a baby, Emmanuel, God with us. How surprising, out of the blue. God spoke through an angel to Joseph and called him to be the earthly father of Emmanuel, God with us. What a surprise, out of the blue. God still comes to us again and again, night after night, day after day, with gifts of love, forgiveness, mercy, and grace, even though we don't deserve them. Surprise. God's love comes every day out of the blue. Amen.